Check this out, this is a gold iPhone 8 Plus. It's an extremely classic device, and the fan who owns it has taken excellent care of it. It's been quite a while since I've seen an older phone maintained so well. Let's enter the fan's passcode and take a look at the battery efficiency. The battery efficiency is still at 80% if the fan has never replaced it even once. Having 80% after all this time is amazing. Let's check about this iPhone. It's a 64GB iPhone 8 Plus, China model. I'm curious how many people watching this are still using this phone. I'd love to see you share in the comments. From the outside, there aren't any major dents or scratches. This shows just how much this fan cherishes the phone. First, we'll directly connect the phone to a computer, tap Trust, and enter the lock screen passcode. Because expanding storage, upgrading capacity on the iPhone 8 Plus is different from modern devices, we need to write the underlying data before expanding storage. We can write the base data straight into the new storage chip. Let's first read the phone's base data off the old chip, then write it into the new one, and unbind the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if you've noticed, especially with older models, the iPhone 6, 7, and 8 series all have batteries that last for many years. But with newer models, batteries usually don't last more than 2 years. Today, we're going to open up this phone to see if the battery has ever been replaced. We'll heat up the phone and use a screen separator to pry open a gap in the display. Then we'll slide a thin pry tool around the edges to lift the screen. Now that the screen is open, from observation, this phone is being disassembled for the first time, no prior repairs. By calculation, if it was bought at launch, it's already been 6 years. The battery health is still at 80%. We'll continue dismantling. Let's remove all the screen ribbon cables, then take off the screen. From inspection, the screen hasn't been repaired either. Everything's original. The iPhone 8 Plus motherboard still uses a 7-shaped connector. Here is the rear camera, and the battery's vibration module is quite large, as well as the speaker and charging port. We need to remove the motherboard. This black cover is the Wi-Fi and GPS antenna for the iPhone 8 Plus. It's common that dropping the phone can break a connection here, causing weak Wi-Fi or GPS signals. Next, we disconnect the volume and power cable connectors. Then we have the rear camera connector, 2 ribbon cables for the rear camera. There's also a hidden screw here. Next, we'll remove the dock connectors, antenna, and the wireless charging cable. We'll unscrew the larger screws holding the motherboard in place. After removing the external SIM tray, we can lift the motherboard out. Now let's inspect the motherboard carefully, front and back, to confirm no prior repairs. However, there's a batch of iPhone 8 Plus motherboards that can't be upgraded, labeled H3K5. But this one is UMT, which is fine. We'll protect the area around the storage chip and place the motherboard in a fixture. We'll preheat the area around the storage chip and the motherboard, and handle the adhesive around the chip. We'll apply a small amount of flux, heat it, and remove the original 64GB chip, even though it's a single-layer board. We still use a method that preserves the board's underside but not the chip. Next, we apply flux to treat the solder pads. If you like this video, please send me some TikTok gifts. Thank you. Then we use solder wick to smooth out the solder joints. Some people quietly watch me repair phones, but they secretly like, comment, share, repost, and follow. Those people are just so lovely. Then we scrape off the black adhesive under the storage chip. In the end, we clean the solder pads thoroughly. Once that's done, we apply new solder balls to the replacement chip. After spreading some solder paste, we wipe it clean, then we apply heat to melt each solder ball. Some watch silently but secretly send TikTok gifts in the comment section, so adorable. Finally, we check to ensure each solder ball is firm and even. That's perfect. Now we can install the new storage chip. We apply a small amount of flux on the board solder pads, set the chip in place, then heat it until we tap the chip and it feels springy. That means it's properly installed. We clean everything up, use a cooling fan to lower the board's temperature, remove the board, then peel off the protective tape on both sides. Since the fan also wants to replace the battery, we'll remove the original battery. Let's look at this battery. Its capacity is 2,691 mAh. The text on the back is unclear due to creases. It might date around 2021 or so. For now, let's just assume it's from 2018. I believe anyone who has used older iPhones feels the same way I do. Older models' batteries were far more durable than today's. Many people wonder if it's a battery workmanship issue or if it's related to the higher power consumption of modern systems and features. We'll reassemble the motherboard and all the cables. Because the iPhone 8 Plus battery is not encrypted, we can simply use a third-party battery. Then we'll clean off the leftover adhesive around the phone's shell and attach new waterproof seals. After that, we'll clean off the leftover adhesive and dust on the back of the screen and install it. We connect the display's Touch ID, digitizer, proximity sensor, and earpiece cables. Lastly, we connect the battery. After another round of dust removal, we install the screen. We fasten the 2 screws at the bottom. Since we replaced the storage chip, we need to reinstall the system by connecting to a computer in DFU recovery mode. The iPhone 8 Plus no longer supports the latest iOS version, which means we can't install iOS 18. Once the system is successfully installed, the phone restarts and goes to the activation screen. We use our software tool to directly activate the phone, and then it arrives at the home screen. Let's take a look at the battery efficiency. It's back to 100%. No error message appears. Since the iPhone 8 Plus battery isn't encrypted under About, we see we've successfully expanded from 64 gigabytes to 256 gigabytes. 256 gigabytes is its maximum capacity, and the iOS version is now 16.7.8. Finally, we test all the features, and everything works fine. Let's take one last look at this classic gold iPhone 8 Plus. Thank you to all the fans for your support. If you enjoy my videos, please double tap the screen, and if you haven't followed yet, consider following.